Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop that's not the shop. So recently I was walking around in the shop and I noticed these blocks laying on the floor. Now, I don't throw stuff away, I keep it, and I thought, what can I do with those blocks to get them cleaned up and make use of them? Well, as it turns out, the CNC machine and I decided we could turn them into some cool looking coasters with a letter monogram in the center of them. Something like this here. Now what I'm going to do in this video is show you how we produce those, and again there's 100 different ways to do this, but this is how I do it. So stick with me. I hope you get something out of this video. I hope you learn something, and let's get started. Okay, we begin by opening up our friend CARVECO. As always, we're greeted with the Maker CARVECO screen, and we're going to do a new model on your left here. Model size is 3" by 3", and your origin is in the center. Again, we can put this origin wherever we like, but I always use, not always, most of the time I use the center. Click OK. And here we have our workspace. Now, we can confirm that that origin is in the center by clicking on View, Show Origin right here, and you can see that it's in the center. If we want to shut it off, we click Show Origin one more time and it goes away. Now I've done all the measurements here for this coaster, and that way you won't have to calculate this out. So the first thing we want to do is go to the T over here for text. Click on that. Our text size should be 47 right here. And the text that I used was Art Script right here. So click in the middle of your work area to give you your first letter. Let's choose a V for no particular reason, but there's a V. Hit F9 to put it in the center. Scroll down to the bottom down here and click Create right here. We now have the letter. Now we need the circle that the letter is going to rest in. So click over here on your circle. Now if you hover in the center, you'll see that little dot appears in the middle of the V. If you put your crosshairs on that dot and they change to the scope symbol, that's what I call it, left click and drag out, you can start to create your circle. Now it doesn't matter how big you make this, because we're going to change it over here using the numbers. So we want that circle to be 2.5 inches in diameter. Remember, diameter, not radius. Click Create. Now that circle should be already in the center, but let's hit F9 just to be sure, and it doesn't move, so it definitely is in the center. Click on this arrow up here in the left corner. Now you don't have to do this, but I do it out of habit. I'll click off of the image to close out the highlighting, and then I'll go back in and click on what I want to create the toolpaths for. And that's the next step, the toolpaths. And we're going to begin this with the circle itself. So we highlighted the circle. We're going to go over here and click on Toolpaths, and we're going to do an area clearance here. We're going to remove a portion of the circle. Then we're going to come back in and we're going to remove the letter a little bit deeper than the circle cut. So we'll come over to this side, scroll down, Create Area Clearance, click that. And we're greeted with this menu here. So our start depth is 0. Our finish depth in this case would be, well, we're going to take this down 1/8 of an inch. So that's 0.125. Scroll down to the tools. Let's add a tool. And I used an 1/8 inch ball nose. Click on that to select it. Now you're going to need to change some of these settings here. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time to carve out this simple little block. So we're going to change the step over to 0.05. We're going to change the step down to 0.2. We're going to leave the rest of these guys here alone. We're going to go down and change it from a raster movement to offset. I want the tool spinning in a circle to create those nice circular lines that are in there behind the letter. Once we've done that, we can continue down. We need to set up our material thickness. That's done right here. The material I used was 1/2 inch, so 0.5. Hit OK. Scroll down to a name, and I called them the circle just to keep this straight when I'm saving the tool paths, because we want the circle to be created first. And I'll show you that when we go to save the tools to make sure that's in the correct order. Calculate now. And as you can see, we've got the nice circular pattern here cut out. We can close the offset, I'm sorry, not the offset, the area clearance menu. And again, go over here to your light bulbs, click on them to shut them off, and it closes out the tool paths. It just makes it easier to see the letters, the line. Highlight the letter. And in this case, we're going to do a contour toolpath, or profiling toolpath, I'm sorry. We need to follow along the line, so the tool will go directly over top of the line that's indicated here. And I just found this by playing around with the different techniques where I went outside or inside, and it seems as though with this little bitty circle and this little bitty coaster that following along the line works best. So we're going to follow along again. Now our start depth in this case has changed, and this is something that I could have left this out, but I thought it was a good thing to be able to show you folks or explain to you. When we cut the circle, we're going to reduce the starting point by 1/8 of an inch. So our start depth now is 0.125. There's no point in letting the mill run over the top of dead air space before it touches the surface. So we'll drop it down that 1/8 of an inch and let it begin right on the surface. Now on a large project, that's important. On this smaller project, it's not that important. It's only one more pass that it's going to make before it touches the letter, but I felt that it was an important thing to be able to explain to you, so that's why we're putting it in here. Now the finish depth is 1/4 inch, 0.25, and what that will do is it will take one more 1/8 of an inch depth of cut on this letter. So the base material is 1/2 an inch, the circle has dropped 1/8 of an inch, the letter will drop another 1/8 of an inch for a total of 1/4 of an inch deep. Not 100, 1/4 inch deep total. Click to select a tool. We're going to use the same one, 1/8 inch ball nose. Scrolling down, we don't need any bridges or tabs, obviously. We're not cutting anything loose. We're basically just doing an outline of this letter. The material thickness is correct. Let's call this letter. That's pretty obvious. Calculate now. Doesn't look like much, but there is a line there. Close this menu out. Click on Tool Paths over here. Let's scroll down and simulate this just to prove that it's correct. Simulate all tool paths right here. And as you can see, we have it. It looks good. Back up to simulation. Right click this time. Delete the tool path. Delete the simulation. I'm sorry, not the tool path. We can go back to the 2D view so that we can still see our letter. And we're all set. Now we can save the tool paths. So click here on Save Tool Paths. And this is in the correct order. If the circle was after the letter, I would invert these two so that the circle cuts first. Otherwise, the machine will bury through 1/4 of an inch worth of material because we have set the start height on the letter 1/8 inch deeper. But they're correct. So let's go down here, put a name on this. As you can see, I've done some other coasters, but we'll change this to Coaster V. We'll save that. Click again, just out of habit. And we're good. Now we'll save the file as, I've been calling these coasters. And the letter, we'll save that. That'll now be on the desktop when I go to run this in the program or on the mill. We're all set there. So now we can go out to the shop, open up Carbide Motion, and see what this thing produces. Here we are at the mill. I've got the router coming over. When that router makes contact with the top of the wood, through the magic of video editing, I've sped this up so that you didn't have to watch the entire carve in original time. although the original carve only took less than 2 minutes. But let's see what we got here once this thing finishes. Circle is complete. We'll start with the letter. Let's see what kind of V we get. V? That looks like an S. Oh well. I might as well show you how we finish it. You're going to take a torch in a circular fashion, never stopping. You don't want to burn it. You just want to scorch the top. Let's do another one here. That makes your shop smell awfully nice with that smoke. Alright, I thought let's have a little fun here. There's a mistake in this video, not with the programming or the lesson, but there's a hidden mistake here. If you can see it or you find it, leave it in the comments below. Alright folks, I hope you got something out of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give us a like, a share, a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.